a baby discovered a bleeding German shepherd caught in a steel trap. But what happened next stunned the entire town and became one of the most heartwarming rescues anyone had ever witnessed. It was a peaceful morning in the small countryside town where Liam and his family lived, a place where children ran barefoot on dewy grass and the air smelled of earth and blossoms. Liam, just over 2 years old, was dressed in his favorite blue onesie, toddling around the yard while his mother prepared breakfast inside. He chased a butterfly, giggling softly, his tiny feet padding across the ground with uncertain steps. The butterfly danced along the breeze, drifting just past the edge of the backyard and into the woods beyond. Liam followed, unaware he was slowly leaving the safety of home. A few feet became 20, then 30, until the sounds of bird song replaced the distant hum of his mother's voice. And then he stopped. A faint sound met his ears. A whimper, soft, pained, curious. He looked around, his wide eyes scanning the quiet trees. There, half hidden in the underbrush, was a large dog, a German shepherd. The animal was lying on its side, panting heavily. One of its front legs was clamped in an old rusty animal trap. Blood matted the fur around the wound, and its ears twitched with every sound. The dog tried to lift its head, but collapsed back with a low groan. Liam didn't understand what a trap was, but he understood pain. His small hand went to his chest, instinctively, as if he could feel the dog's hurt himself. The German shepherd let out a weak growl, weary, unsure. But the baby didn't move. He stared at the suffering creature with quiet awe, and in that instant, something unspoken passed between them, something that would change both of their lives forever. The German shepherd's eyes narrowed, its ears flattening as the small boy inched closer. Despite the pain, the dog tried to rise, baring its teeth slightly in a last effort to defend itself. But there was no strength left in its body, just fear and agony. Liam didn't flinch. His tiny face remained calm, filled not with fear, but with something else, empathy. He crouched slowly, his knees touching the dirt path, and tilted his head as he studied the wounded animal. The baby reached out a chubby hand and touched the dog's ear, soft, slow, without hesitation. The dog froze. No growl, no bark, just a low, trembling breath. For a moment, everything stood still. The leaves rustled high above. The birds sang faintly. But down on the forest floor, something sacred was happening. A bond. Quiet, delicate, real. Liam sat beside the dog, patting its side, gently, mimicking what his parents did. When he cried, the German shepherd let out a faint whimper, but didn't pull away. Instead, it allowed the child's tiny fingers to rest against its fur. The trap was still biting into its leg, the wound deep and painful, but the presence of the child seemed to ease its trembling. Somehow, the baby's touch was a balm. After several long minutes, Liam tried to tug at the metal trap, his small hands gripping the rusty wires, but it wouldn't budge. He grunted, pulled again. Nothing. Then, almost instinctively, he stood, looked back toward where he came from, and started walking. He fell once, then twice, but each time got back up. He wasn't going to forget the dog. He wasn't going to leave it there. Liam had made a silent promise, and now he was going for help, the only way he knew how. Back at the house, Liam's mother was beginning to worry. She stepped outside, calling his name, her voice tinged with growing panic. Then, to her immense relief, she saw him, a flash of blue stumbling out of the trees, face flushed and breath shallow. But something was different. He wasn't toddling aimlessly like usual. He was determined, focused, tugging at the air as if urging her to follow. "Liam?" she asked, kneeling to meet him. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" Liam grabbed her hand with both of his and began pulling. He pointed frantically toward the woods, babbling in toddler speak, his wide eyes filled with urgency. Confused, she stood and followed him, thinking he might have dropped a toy or seen a squirrel. But as they walked deeper into the forest, the mood shifted. Liam suddenly stopped, pointing ahead. That's when she heard it, low, pained, whimpering. Her heart skipped. She pushed through a curtain of leaves and gasped. There, lying in the dirt, was the German shepherd, blood soaked fur clinging to its side, eyes barely open. "Oh my God," she whispered, rushing forward. She gently knelt beside the dog, careful not to startle it, while Liam sat back down beside his new friend, placing a comforting hand on its ear again. The dog didn't react, just let out a weak breath. With trembling fingers, she dialed animal rescue and gave the location. "Please hurry," she pleaded. "There's a dog trapped in a snare, and my son found him. I think it's bad." She stayed there with Liam, whispering softly, her hand on the dog's side, hoping help would arrive in time. And all the while, Liam didn't move. He stayed by the dog's side like a guardian, far beyond his years. Minutes later, the sound of tires crunching over dirt signaled the arrival of animal rescue. A small team of professionals emerged from the vehicle, their faces tight with urgency as they carried a stretcher and a heavy tool set. One of them, a middle-aged woman with gentle eyes, approached the scene quickly. She knelt beside the dog and took one look at the wound before nodding firmly. "We don't have much time." Liam's mother pulled him close as the rescuers went to work. One carefully soothed the dog while the others worked on prying open the trap. The metal groaned under pressure and, with one final twist, it released. The German shepherd yelped faintly, his leg bleeding freely now. But the worst was over. He was quickly lifted onto the stretcher and wrapped in warm blankets. "He's strong," one of the rescuers said, brushing sweat from his forehead. "But if that baby hadn't led you here when he did, this wouldn't have ended well." Liam, still clutching his mother's leg, peeked over at the stretcher. The dog's eyes were half closed, but they blinked once slowly when they met his. It was a look of thanks, deep and unmistakable. At the animal hospital, the dog was treated immediately. X-rays revealed no broken bones, but he'd lost a lot of blood and would need rest and healing. The vet, touched by the story, made a simple statement that spread quickly. That baby didn't just find the dog, he saved him. The news caught fire. Neighbors, reporters, and even strangers online were moved to tears. But in the center of it all was a boy too young to speak and a dog too injured to move, bound by a connection stronger than words and deeper than anyone could understand. Weeks passed and the German shepherd, now named Shadow, slowly began to heal. His wounds closed, his strength returned, and his spirit, once buried beneath pain and fear, began to shine again. But something else had healed during the time too. Something invisible yet unbreakable. From the very first day Liam came to visit him at the animal clinic, Shadow's eyes lit up. He wagged his tail for the first time. Every visit was the same. Liam toddled into the room with outstretched arms, and Shadow, no matter how sore or tired, would lift his head and let out a soft whine of joy. When the vet finally gave the green light for Shadow to leave, there was no question where he was going. No owner had come forward, no claim had been made. Shadow was alone in the world except for the baby who had saved him. So, the family brought him home. The reunion was quiet, perfect. Liam squealed as Shadow entered the living room, tail wagging slowly. He walked straight to the toddler, leaned his head down and gently nudged him with his nose. From that day on, Shadow never left his side. Whether Liam was napping in the grass or playing with blocks on the floor, the German shepherd was always nearby, watchful, loyal, and content. A local news team aired the story footage of the baby walking toward the forest hand in hand with his dog. Melted hearts nationwide. People called them a miracle duo. And one sunny afternoon, the camera captured a final moment. Liam curled up asleep under a tree, his tiny chest rising and falling peacefully, and Shadow curled protectively beside him, eyes closed, his chin resting gently on the baby's feet. Two souls, once strangers, now family.